Perfect. So welcome everyone to this session on finding purpose and fulfillment and how to unlock our true self, our authentic self. The reason why I chose this topic for today is because recently I've been doing a lot of thinking about what true happiness, what true fulfillment feels like. What is that even about, right? We're going to get a bit philosophical today, more than in other sessions today, I think. And I've come to realize that material treats, having fancy clothes and going to nice restaurants, having a nice car, having a big house, having money in the bank account, going on holidays, they're kind of temporary fixes. They give us a boost of satisfaction or happiness in the moment. But what happens, or in my experience, what I have found that happens is that the more you do, the more you want, or the more you need to be happy. And you think, oh, if only I had £10,000 more in my bank account, that will make the world of a difference. And maybe you get those £10,000 and you're like, yeah, but now I need 20,000 more. Maybe you think, oh, I really need a holiday. And you go on a nice trip with friends, with your partner or your own, and you come back and it's like, but when is the next one? I'm looking forward to the next one already, right? So all these things, all these actions give us that sense of quick satisfaction, of quick happiness, but they're not permanent. They're kind of a quick fix, right? So Tiffany's saying this is a good topic, been on my mind, a major cause of my discontent. So we're going to get very philosophical here today, Tiffany, this session. Yeah, you're going to enjoy it. And by the way, I'm going to be asking you lots of questions today. Today is going to be one of those sessions where I launch or throw in the air many questions for self-reflection. So if you have pen and paper handy, if you like writing, feel free to bring that, feel free to use that. Or if you are, if you just want to see what comes for you, you can also close your eyes and just enjoy this talk in a more experiential way rather than taking it from a logical point of view or, but just see what moves for you, just see what answers come up for the questions that I'm going to be sharing. Sustainable happiness. Yes, absolutely. And sustainable happiness shouldn't depend on external factors. True fulfillment is a state of being. And it's not something that depends on what we have in the wardrobe, our next holidays. It's much bigger. It's much bigger than that. And what I have found is that being aligned with yourself, being aligned with your true values, and first of all, identifying and knowing those true values and those priorities, right? Being aligned with your mission, with your calling, if you have one, if you have identified one, is what brings you to fulfillment. And then you're on the right path, then you're doing the right thing. And knowing that the decisions you are making, that the actions you are taking are aligned with your soul, with your heart, with that true authentic self is bliss, is pure bliss. And then you can go to sleep knowing that you're doing the right thing. And that sense of fulfillment that comes from a sense of being connected with yourself, with the universe, with God, think about your big vision. We're also going to get spiritual here today. And that doesn't depend on your next holidays. That doesn't depend on if you have a nice plan with your friends this weekend. It comes from a much deeper place. And yeah, of course, having those treats is wonderful. I love them. I love to have fun. I recently went on a few days trip with my friends to Munich, had a lot of fun, a lot of laughter. I love treating myself to holidays by the sea. I love being by the sea. I love to eat out. I like to treat myself to nice clothes every now and then. Why not? It's great. It's perfect. But when your happiness depends on that, it means that something is not in alignment. There's something that hasn't clicked yet. So hopefully with this session in today's workshop, you will start becoming a bit more in touch with that authentic self, with that true self. And what I'm saying, you might be thinking, well, Veronica, this is not rocket science, what you're saying, right? Yeah, of course, if you want to be happy, if you want to be fulfilled, you need to be aligned with yourself. I'm not reinventing the wheel here, am I? But why is it so difficult then to be happy, especially these days? Like I can see more and more people being unfulfilled, empty, and especially people who have a lot. You know, and sometimes you look at them or you talk to them and they're not happy and they're not satisfied. They're not satisfied. They're not fulfilled. They always want more. They always need more money, more experiences, more cars, more clothes, right? So it is definitely not as easy as it seems. It's simple though. It's simple. Being aligned with your values, being aligned with your soul, your calling, your mission, just with who you are. It might not be, and when I'm talking about mission or calling, I'm not talking about saving the world, because that's not everyone's mission. It's not mine, definitely. It might be for some people, but it doesn't need to be something big. It doesn't need to be impacting millions of people. It's about your path. That's what I mean by mission, by calling, your path. Whatever that means. And that might mean starting a family. That might mean being kind in your community and just being, you know, someone that helps, someone that always has a smile available for others. It can be something as simple as that. So we're not thinking, you know, it doesn't need to be like a major or big, huge calling here, but being aligned with who you truly are. And then when your actions, when the words you say, the decisions you make are aligned with that, then the rest is just the cherry on top, right? Those holidays, that nice pair of shoes, that fancy trip, or that treat, that spa day, right? That's the cherry on top. But it's not the source of happiness. It's not the source of fulfillment. Now, what's the problem? The problem here is that if we were able to, you know, to really be the most authentic version of ourselves, we wouldn't have less than half of the problems that we have. We wouldn't have, I don't know, maybe 80% of the problems we have right now. We wouldn't, because we would know who we are. We would know what's important for us. We would know our path and we would do it. And that's it. And life will flow. And and when that happens, when you're truly aligned, you see the life flows. Life is easy. It's like, oh, life doesn't need to be a struggle. Oh, life is not about suffering. So it would be very easy. But the problem is that when we're born, we come here with our uniqueness, right? We come here with a set of skills, talents, strengths, traits. We are all different. We are all unique. Otherwise, this would be so boring, right? So we all come here with a uniqueness to share and with something to do, with a mission, with a path to follow, with a journey to follow, with some lessons to learn, with some healing to do, right? And we are all different. And we're like a piece of clay, let's say, right? That has a beautiful shape, and we all have a different shape, right? One will be thin and tall, one will be very curvy, one will be with straight lines. So think about yourself for a moment as that unique piece of clay that you came into the world as. But what happened is that as we grow up, from the moment we are born, from the moment we come to this world, we are subject to a lot of conditioning and programming. And that starts with our parents telling us what's right, what's wrong, what we have to do with our lives, the jobs that are appropriate for us, what means to be a good person or to be a bad person. That continues at school. Everyone being measured by the same exams, same subjects, when we are all so different. And your teachers start to tell you again what's right, what's wrong. If you do this, you're a bad person. This is not allowed. Or you failed this exam, so this means you're not smart enough. Because of one test. And we start developing beliefs about ourselves, about the world, about others, but especially about ourselves, right? And then it continues. We absorb patterns from our religion, our culture, our country, the TV, society in general. So all this conditioning, all this programming, and especially our parents, they try their best, right? With the circumstances they have and with the resources they have, they try their best. And they try to, to teach us according to their values, according to their beliefs. They try to tell us what's good for us because they want to protect us, right? But very often they get it wrong, because what they teach us or what they want for us is based on their beliefs and their programming and their sometimes even not even about their true selves and their true beliefs, but about their conditioning and their programming, which comes, grandparents and back into our ancestors. And what happens with that beautiful piece of clay that is different for everyone, it starts to have, it starts to be shaped based on our parents' beliefs, the experience we have at school, our religion, our society, our culture, and they try to shape us, right? And especially when in the education system in most countries these days, like everyone has to learn the same, everyone has to learn the same subjects, the same way, the way to measure, even the way they measure how smart people are, with these IQ tests. It's a bloody test, a set of questions. What does that mean? Nothing. It means that you are good at answering that test. It means that you had a good score at that particular exam. Doesn't mean that you're not smart, doesn't mean that you're not talented, doesn't mean anything. It means whatever you want it to mean. But because of that, we start, our beautiful, unique shape starts to be the same. And when you see, sometimes when you see kids at school, they talk in the same way and we all learn to memorize stuff. That's the way most people learn, right? I remember, I don't know, until I was 16 and pretty much in uni as well, until I was 21 or 22, the main way to demonstrate if I was smart enough or not was doing those exams, which were mainly about memorizing and then parroting something back. And that doesn't fit everyone. Of course it doesn't. And then we all think the same, right? And then we learn to be the same. We learn what's good and what's right. And that unique shape loses its uniqueness to become very similar to others. Or maybe not even similar to others, but just different from the original shape, different from that authentic shape. We lose that uniqueness. And the reason why is because we're social beings. And our main priority, of course, is going to be to survive, to have food, shelter, to stay safe. That's always instinctively, that's always going to be our priority, our main instinct, to keep ourselves safe. So if being that unique shape that no one else has, if we perceive that there is a risk in that it is not safe to be ourselves, if someone is bullied at school, very likely the belief is going to be, it's not safe to express myself, it's not safe to be who I truly am, right? So then we shape that beautiful piece of clay to fit in, very often for safety reasons, just to survive. And we do this when we're very young, right? This is how we learn to survive. But also because we are human beings, we are social beings. And we also have the instinct to want to belong to a tribe and to want to fit in. And that makes a lot of sense. It's not even about pleasing others. It's about a survival instinct as well that relates to being part of a tribe. Because back in the day, if you weren't part of a tribe, you were screwed. You probably wouldn't last long on your own in the forest or the jungle or the desert or wherever you lived, right? We needed to be part of a tribe. We needed to be part of a community for survival. And that still runs in our DNA, in our biology. So trying to fit in, very often I talk to clients or I talk to someone, they're like, but why do I have this feeling or this need to fit in, to be appreciated, to be, this fear of rejection? Well, it's part of a survival instinct, partly, not all of it, but partly is a survival instinct. Is your instinct telling you, hey, if you don't fit in, if you're on your own, it's going to be very difficult to survive here. So we're like, right, okay. And we sacrifice being that beautiful piece of clay that we came here to be, and we start shaping it to fit others. Because we can, as we grow, it will change. Because we will change, we will grow, we will heal, right? If I think about who I was 10 years ago, I'm a very different piece of clay, trust me. Very, very different piece of clay. And that's fine. But the problem is when we make that piece of clay very different to our uniqueness, to our essence, and we shape it to please others, to fit in. And if we do that against our authentic self, that's going to create a conflict. And that's going to be a major source of unfulfillment. And that's when money, trips, holidays, clothes, cars, money, name it, it won't work. You will always need more and more. It's like being thirsty and someone giving you bread. You need water. That's not how you satisfy your thirst, right? You're trying to satisfy your thirst with something different. So you're always going to feel thirsty. Yeah, Jay saying, what do I care what others think? Makes sense now. Yeah, absolutely. It's not that we're crazy. It's not that, oh, there's something wrong with me. Maybe, maybe there's something I need to fix. No, it partly is, it's part of our instinct to survive and to be part of a community and to be part of a tribe. Truth, Nicole says, right? Someone agrees. So we shape the piece of clay, and then there is a conflict, and then there is dissatisfaction, lack of fulfillment, and we might even start a path that is not ours. And maybe one day, maybe you've, and let me know in the chat. First, by the way, let me know in the chat, guys, if you have any questions or if there are any insights that you would like to share, because I love to hear from you. But has it ever happened to you that, you stop one day and you think, right, so I'm in this job, I'm in this relationship, I live in this country. How did I end up here? Is this what I truly wanted to do? Because it doesn't feel right to me somehow. So how did I end up in this job again? Why did I decide to go to uni and study this? Why did I decide to marry this person? And maybe one day something clicked and it's like, something doesn't feel quite right here. And when that happens, is your soul screaming, letting you know that that path is not right for you. And trust me, I do know from my own experience, I'm not sharing this from a book or the theory. I know very well how this feels. And I'm going to share more about my story in a second. Oh, that was a question I asked myself yesterday and I cried. I feel like I'm chasing air. No, Tiffany, that's beautiful. That's literally your heart. That's your soul, like asking you that question. And that's a great place to be in. Listen, I'm 39 now. So yeah, I think around 10 years ago, more or less, give or take. I'm originally from Spain, so I was living in Madrid, and I was working in the corporate world. I was working in banking, and I was making lots of money. I was very successful. Successful because it was not my definition of success. But for me back then, that was the definition of success, making a lot of money, having a stable job. That's how I was raised. That's what I learned from my family, from school, from uni. Go study hard, have a job in a big company. That's the dream. Having that security and making more money than your neighbor and show around, you know, so you can afford all this breathing hours. Okay, perfect. So I didn't even think about what my piece of shit, my piece of clay was. I was just like, okay, this is what people are telling me to do. So sounds good. Sounds good to me. So it felt really good. It felt really good to my ego, right? Because it was like, right, I'm so successful. And my friends would tell me, oh my God, you have such a big job, and you know, and everything in the surface, everything was perfect for me. And then I moved to London. That was in 2015, so almost 9 years ago, because I wasn't happy, and I was always like, no, it's this job, it's this team. Maybe I just need to go abroad and get a bit of fresh air. But in a sense, I can't relate. Yeah, I'm sure many people can relate. So yeah, so there was always a reason, right? Let me go to London, let me go to another country, which sounds really cool and really fun, and make even more money. Got a promotion there, amazing. And I was like, how is it possible that I have the perfect job, that I have everything, I have good health, I have a boyfriend, I have friends, I have a lot of fun, you know, and I feel so unfulfilled and I feel so empty. How is this even possible? Doesn't make any sense to me. I didn't understand. It was a mind fuck for me. Excuse my language. I had no idea why that was the case. So I thought, right, okay, so clearly my job is not working, and maybe that's the problem, right? Yeah, internal soul emptiness, absolutely, because I was listening to my soul, zero, literally zero. So yes, I thought, right, I clearly need a career change, because you know, this is perfect. I'm working 9 to 5. My manager is an angel. I'm getting paid tons of money, and I dread getting up in the morning every day. There's something really wrong here. So I started a career change, and you know, exploring different options. It took me a while. It took me some time to figure out my next career move. I considered many different options, but one option, they always told me that I was good giving advice and helping people with stress and, you know, in difficult situations. So I thought, oh, so maybe some form of like coaching, counseling would work for me. Let me have a look at that. And I did. So I enrolled for a counseling course and then some other coaching courses. And that took me on a self-discovery process. Wow. And that process made me remove all these layers, all the layers that I had been putting on. It helped me understand my definition of success. And it was a bit shock, like a really, really, really cold shower, but really, really cold water shower, to realize that who I truly was, my values, my preferences, what I wanted to do in life, what really mattered to me, had nothing to do with my previous definition of success and what I had dedicated all my life to pursue. That corporate world job, the money, that definition of success. All I had done all my life was prepare for that definition of success. And turns out that I'm a completely different person. It was a really cold shower, trust me. It was like a big slap in the face. So I know that this is not pleasant, and this is not an easy journey to being. And if you were attracted to this workshop, you probably you resonated with the idea, right? So you're probably at a certain stage in that process. I'm just going to check in the comments. What if you can, oh, sorry, because this move. What if you can't do what makes you sing? I'm 200 miles away from home and working a very stressful job that I'm not very good at, but it ticks all the boxes. Yeah, that's the thing, that when you're not doing what makes your heart sing, shrinks your heart. And you can tick many other boxes, and you can, stability, check. Money, check. Pleasing my family or my spouse or my friends, check. Being able to show up, check. And your heart is like, hello, and what about me? And 1,000 boxes, you can tick 1,000 boxes. If you don't tick the heart one, you're gonna have a hard time finding that fulfillment and that inner peace. Really, really difficult. So for me, it started with doing what made my heart sing in terms of my profession, right? The good thing about it is that for me, it took me on such a, self-discovery and healing process that it was absolutely life-changing. It was absolutely life-changing. And I realized that I would never be happy. It was hard to quit that job. It was hard to start my own business. It was hard to do the healing. Not hard is not the word I want to use. It wasn't pleasant to do the healing because there were a lot of realizations that were like a slap in the face and then another one. Right? So yeah, some points weren't easy, but it was so worth it. It was so, so worth it. Tiffany saying, yes, I'm in my 30s and left tech to find an alternative path. I've been traveling from country to country from the past few months, going on panels, taking on fellowships, but I feel I'm becoming more confused. My family doesn't know what I'm up to, and I'm ashamed to admit I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going. Added is the stress that I am single and without children. Well, I hope to have a family one day. I feel that one day so far, and my aspirations are undefined. The thing is that this reminds me so much of that stage when I was trying to figure out who I was. And that takes time, Tiffany. That is a process. And everyone who's resonating with what Tiffany's saying, which I'm sure some of you are, it is a process, and it is okay to take your time to figure out what you want to do. If you had a career in tech, you probably follow your path like I did in a hamster wheel. Study, get a job, and then all this pressure, of course. You're a woman, you're in your 30s. Do you have a ring on your finger? Do you have a belly? Are you pregnant? All this added pressure. Society, parents. But do you really want it? That's the first question to ask yourself. Do you really want that? Do you really want that? And there's no right or wrong answer, by the way. But that is a process. It's like, imagine you've been in a hamster wheel for so long. I was in the hamster wheel for 30 years of my life. Yeah, around 30 years of my life. High speed, running fast, going nowhere, getting nowhere, but running really fast. And suddenly one day, I decided to jump off the wheel. Imagine how you feel. It's like when you are, like when you're running on the treadmill and you're running very fast, and if you jump onto the floor, it's like you might even fall down because you still have the inertia of running. So imagine you've been on a very fast treadmill or, the hamster wheel for 20, 30, 40, 80 years of your life, running really fast, and you suddenly decide to stop and get off. How are you going to feel? Completely confused. Probably dizzy even. Looking around like, what am I supposed to do next? What are the paths in front of me? And it's okay. Not only it's okay, it's a natural part of the process. And I remember when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my career, I thought of so many options. I was doing a lot of dancing. I love dancing, and I was doing a lot of dancing back then, like even performing. And I thought, maybe I want to be a dance teacher. Maybe I want to be a Spanish teacher. I really love my language, so why not? maybe marketing is for me, maybe the corporate world, I like the vibes, but maybe I just need to, maybe it's marketing. Oh, no, maybe it's HR, because that's more like about working with people, or it should be about working with people and working for people. And I had to assess so many different options. It took me a good while to do that. Right now, I wish I had a coach back then, or someone to help me figure it out earlier. But still, like when I work with someone, my main offerings, my program is 3 months. And that's the minimum I would like to work with someone, because I know that this takes time. Uncovering all those layers, identifying all the programming, all the conditioning. All right, okay, so what is me? What is my mom? What is my dad? What is my grandparents? What is what the commercial I saw on TV? What is what my teacher told me? Do I agree with that? Is that me, or is that someone else's? And that takes a while to figure out, right? Yes, but it's so right. It does not matter how old you are. Absolutely not. And I've had clients in their 80s, and I love them and admire them so much for wanting to do the self-discovery, the healing. And I love the term journey. So your journey, yearning inside. I love that. I absolutely love that term. I'm gonna steal it from you. I'm sorry. I'm gonna start using it more, because I absolutely love it. Yeah, it's never too late, and it takes time, and it is okay. And you don't have to give any explanations. I remember back in the day, my mom also worked in the corporate world, in banking for many years, my dad as well. So I was kind of like literally programmed to do that. She never told me you have to go and look for a job in a bank. Never. I decided that. You just crafted a wonderful term. I absolutely love it. That has to be the best typo ever. Absolutely ever. I love that. So yeah, so you don't have to give anyone any explanations. For me, it was I didn't tell anyone about until I decided to start my master's degree in counseling, for example. They don't need to know. And my friends, I remember some of them thinking, you're absolutely nuts. You're going to quit that job to do this thing. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I don't need your validation. I don't need you to agree. I don't need your advice. Yeah, it hurt. I'm not going to lie, it hurt. Because of that desire to, we all like to be validated and appreciated and valued and celebrated, of course. Okay, let me do some healing. I'm getting very triggered here. Let me work on this. And I grew so much more confident. Going through that journey gave me so much confidence, so much courage. I had to do a lot of inner work. It didn't come naturally for me to be okay with starting my own business, with doing something completely different. And especially some of the things I do, when I was doing my shamanic energy healing training, some of the more energy-based techniques that I do, sometimes even just meditation. Some people are like, what? You do what now? So yeah, so it is okay. Take your time to figure out who you truly are, what you want to do, what that piece of clay looks like for you. I was working with a client the other day in a session. I learned so much from my clients, honestly. Sometimes they come up with these pearls of wisdom that I'm like, wow. So she was saying something like, one of those beautiful marble statues, I think it was the Michelangelo made. And he said something like, I didn't create it. I didn't make it. It was already there in that block, in that square block of marble. that statue was already inside. All I did was take out what was no longer needed. And you make me think so much, one of those philosophical reflections. Wow. But it's so true. You don't have to create yourself. You don't have to reinvent yourself. Who you are is already there. All the resources you need, the inner wisdom, the confidence, the talents, that's already there inside. It's just about removing what is not who you truly are, one layer at a time. And again, that statue, that doesn't happen in a day with one click. No, it's a process. You need to be scratching, okay, this layer, this belief doesn't serve me. This definition of success, this definition of happiness, maybe I need to revisit it. This vision, these career goals, these life goals, what were they based on? And I said that I was going to throw lots of questions today. So feel free to take these questions or maybe write them down for later when you have more time for self-reflection. But a key question would be, who are you without that conditioning, without that programming? Who are you when you remove all those layers? When you remove all the debris? You that doesn't make you. Without the gold, without the money, without all those beliefs, what remains inside? Not an easy question. And you might need to reflect on it on many different days. And the answer might be different, many different days. And as you go on the journey of self-discovery, you will see that sometimes you remove one layer at a time. And one day, something comes to your awareness. And then later down the line, there's like, oh, there's another belief. Where does this come from? I said to my friend the other day that I'm beginning to be able to see me in the fog. I just need to blow more of the fog away. Exactly. You don't need to create yourself. Who you are is already there. It's just that, there is a lot of, it's like having glasses and having a lot of mud on them. You can't see clearly. And then once you remove the fog, the layers, the pieces of marble that doesn't make that masterpiece, it's already there. It's already there. So I'm going to throw another question for you to reflect. If you were the most authentic version of yourself, that masterpiece, that authentic masterpiece, without the programming, without the conditioning, and your decisions and your actions, what you do, what you say, what you think, what you say about yourself, about others, what you do every day in your life, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. If all those decisions, all those thoughts were aligned, 100% aligned with that authentic you, what opportunities will open up for you? Be possible for you? How would your life change? Think big. This is an answer. This is a question to think big. Because honestly, when you start to figure out your authentic self, when you go in that journey, I love that word. I just love that. When you embark on that self-discovery process and you align your actions, you heal all the, Obviously, traumatic experiences are a big part of this, you know, healing that, clearing the limiting beliefs, the negative thoughts, that negative self-narrative. Once you clear that and you become aligned with who you truly are, everything, when that clicks, everything flows. Everything else seems to flow. And opportunities come up out of nowhere. Synchronicities start to happen. You start to meet people that tell you exactly what you needed to hear, that open a door for you, that make a suggestion, and you think, oh, that's really interesting. It's like imagine you have different bits of pipes and they're all misaligned and they're causing a block. The water can't circulate properly because they're not aligning. And suddenly when they're all aligned, it's like, oh, now the flow of energy or water or whatever can flow. It's much easier. It's like creating that vessel, that channel for the energy to flow. And becoming resonance with the life you truly want to live. I'm always talking, one of my main taglines is reclaim your power and create the life you truly want to live. Not the ones that your parents told you to live, not the ones that your spouse wants you to live, not the ones that your friends are going to be jealous of. The life you truly want to live. And the first step is figuring out what that looks like. Because it's not always so straightforward because of all this conditioning, because of all this programming. Sometimes we think we want something, that we really desire something, but when we start questioning it, we might think, well, actually, was this me? Or was I just trying to fit in? Was I just trying to please this person? Why was I just trying to survive? And that takes time, and people underestimate how long this can take and how important this is. And then from there, you know, once you get clear on the life you truly want to live, then is when you do all the inner work, the healing, the beliefs, you know, you reclaim your power. Because no one can give it to you. It's there. You always had it. That's why when I was thinking, what am I about? In a nutshell, what's my tagline? What's my thing? Reclaim your power. Why? Because the power was already within you. You just need to reclaim it. It doesn't come from an external source. You don't go and find it somewhere else. You don't go and buy it in a shop. That's not what power is about. Power was already within you. But all the conditioning and all the programming was stopping you from realizing how much power you have. So that's why you start healing that and getting rid of what is no longer serving you, like Michelangelo did with the marble figure, with the statue. Then you can reclaim your power. And from a position of authenticity and being in your power, being confident, knowing what your path is, then creating that life that feels authentic for you, that feels right for you, is much easier. The pieces kind of fit in together. Tiffany saying, I would not give a blip about what other people thought, and I would be more brave to try things. I'm starting, but there's still a lingering fear that I will fall on my face and prove that I'm a failure. Yeah, of course. So that's the first thing that most people would say. So if you were your most authentic self, like, how would your life be different? What would you be doing? Yeah, I wouldn't care at all. I wouldn't care if people judge me, if people criticize me, people think I'm crazy. Who cares? Your authentic self wouldn't care. Not at all. Because your authentic self knows that we are all different and that there is no need to fit in or to please others. Your authentic self knows that the priority and that the only way to fulfillment is being that authentic self. So your authentic self couldn't care less about your parents, about what your parents, your friends, your partners, your colleagues say. Couldn't care less. But yeah, that's the thing, that when we start to dream big and when we there to see ourselves in that big vision. And when we let our authentic self speak, even if it's a little bit, right? Because sometimes what happens is that the older beliefs in the programming has been so loud, so strong, that our authentic self is very quiet. It's kind of like dormant, right? Doesn't have a lot of courage to speak up because it knows that the inner critic or all those other negative thoughts, all those limiting beliefs are going to come very loud. So our authentic self might be a bit quiet and shy. And of course, and as soon as we try to step into that vision, there's fear. Of course, there is a resistance. There's, oh, but what if I mess up? And we start creating all these what ifs. I had a list of what ifs. I could have written a million books easily with what with my what ifs. So it's very important here that you understand where these beliefs or where these fears come from. And by the way, if you're enjoying this talk, I have a 7-day course, Step into My Power with Confidence and Joy, that will take you through this process of creating your vision, identifying the resistance. It has some healing meditations and energetic techniques to clear that. So feel free to check that out in more detail, because that is the key. First step, you identify your dream, your vision, who you truly are, the life that you truly want to live, what that looks like. And here you probably heard about vision boards and visualization techniques and all these things, which is great. But if there are any beliefs, the conditioning, the programming that go against this vision, it's never going to work. It doesn't matter the manifestation technique you use. Go on YouTube, you can find a million manifestation techniques promising you to have $1 million in your bank account the day after if you do that overnight meditation, to suddenly manifest the love of your life. It's going to knock on the door. It's never going to happen. It's never going to work if there is a subconscious belief, if there was an early decision that goes against that vision. And if the belief is, I'm not good enough, that's not safe for me, that's not possible for me, that doesn't happen for people like me, I'm such a failure, I'm not smart enough, I don't deserve it, I'm not worth it, name it. If one of those beliefs is a core belief, a subconscious belief, it's always going to block the vision, no matter how many manifestation techniques you do, no matter how hard you try, no matter how many goals you set, and and how many plans you do, you're going to sabotage yourself. Not consciously, obviously, we don't do this, like to make our lives miserable. It's a program running in the subconscious mind. And sometimes, and this is very important, to do this work and to really identify these beliefs, because some of them, we're already aware of them. Some of them are good old friends, aren't they? That you're a failure, you're not good enough, who do you think you are? Good old friends. We all know them. Very present, recurring again and again. But some of them are kind of hidden. And it happened to me recently. Actually, I think it was this week. It was a few days ago that I was doing a session. And it was funny because a couple of weeks ago in the trip with my friends, someone was joking about, oh, life is so hard. That's because life is hard. And I was like, no, it's not. Life is so easy, right? Life is hard if you want to make it hard. So from a conscious level, I was completely disagreeing with that belief. So when I went to that session, and I said, oh, I'm really struggling, with finding the right clients at this time. I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with that. Everything feels like a struggle, like I have to put a lot of effort in. I'm really struggling. I have no idea where this is coming from. Well, it turns out, doing a lot of research and deep dive, like I would do in a session, doing a bit of tapping, tuning into it, bringing different memories to my world. It turns out that I did have the belief that life is hard. And it was a very, very core one, very, very old one, like an ancestral one. And I was like, all this time, I've been joking about it, consciously disagreeing with that belief, thinking I definitely don't have that belief. That limiting belief is not mine. Well, it turns out that it was. It was just such a deep one, an old one, obviously inherited from my ancestors, that I wasn't aware of it at all. But it was there in my subconscious mind, running the show. And once I do the work that if you've come to some of my sessions, you've probably heard me saying the same thing again and again and again, because that's the way I work with my clients. Identify the resistance, identify the belief, go back in time when you made that decision. So in this case was when did I make the decision that life is hard? Yeah, I remember being a kid and my grandparents talking about, after the war and how everything was a struggle and blah, blah, blah. So it was not mine. It was something that I heard, is some conditioning, programming. They never told me, Veronica, you have to learn that life is hard. They never said that to me. But because of what I heard, and because of what I saw, I made the decision that life is hard. So all these years of my life, I've made my life so much more complicated having that belief. And it was only a few days ago that I identified that. And once you go back in time and, rewrite that story, then magic starts to happen and things start flowing again. It's incredible the difference it can make when you do the inner work at that level of depth. Paulina's asking about the course. There isn't a support group. I don't have a group here on Insight Timer, but you can enroll in the course. It's here on Insight Timer, and you can ask any questions that you might have in the course. And I'm always checking that out and answering to questions. So yeah, feel free to join and answer any questions you might have. Saying, I'm on the roller coaster of waking up since 2 years, but I don't have a guide or connection with others on the road. Now there is so much complete confusion and fear. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So drop me a message, guys, because I'm always happy to hear from you. And if you're facing any particular challenges, or if you're looking for a support group, I'm always happy to point you to specific resources. I mean, you can go on Insight Timer, check my profile and my website, veronica-moreno.com, for all the content I have and for all the work I do. But if you drop me a message, I'm always happy to point you to specific resources and content that I have. So Jay saying, yes, I don't trust anything that's too easy. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And what came up in that session, I was stepping into my vision of, owning a house by the sea and, working as little as I want, but helping lots of people, everything flowing, not having to think about marketing and, and this strategy and working so hard and this and that. And the first thing that came to, as soon as I started doing a bit of tapping and digging, the first thing that came to my awareness was, that's too easy. I thought, oh, that's too easy. And why is that a problem? Because that's not what life is. Oh, that's not what life is. So what is life about? Life is hard. So it was kind of a conversation with myself. And there was a part of me that really believed that life is hard. And those beliefs will create our struggle. So very important to identify those beliefs. And of course, so we have identified our vision, which is a big piece of work on itself. Then we work on the stories, and a question I'm going to throw here as well is, what stories are you telling yourself, or what is the narrative you're telling yourself that is stopping you from creating that vision, the life you truly want to live? What stories, what narrative are preventing you from being your most authentic self? And again, this is a big one to reflect on. And the final step, which I absolutely love, is reconnecting and giving voice and giving space and nurturing those parts of ourselves that carried the power, the wisdom, the knowledge, all of those skills, all those wonderful parts of yourself who are already there. It's just they're probably very quiet and shy at the moment because the negative thoughts, the negative self-narrative, the limiting beliefs, the inner critic were way too loud for them to have space. And they were taking too much energetic space for them to come to the surface. What I saying, okay, I'm crying. My love, I'm here for you. Sending much love to you and everyone in this journey. And what I have to say is that this work is not easy. This is not for everyone. The work I do sometimes when someone books a free discovery session with me and they want to work with me and they say, well, I just want to work on my goals and, you know, everything has to be like forward looking. I'm not doing the past stuff. I'm not going there. And I'm like, well, okay, but you're never going to achieve deep transformation because who you are today is based on all your experiences so far, all the learning so far, all the decisions you have made so far. It is relevant. And they say, no, but the past is not relevant anymore. The past is in the past. It is 100% relevant. So I understand that, you know, people are a bit reluctant to go deep and heal that. And especially because, you know, maybe they think about just talking therapy and they think, oh my God, I'm just going to sit in front of someone. I'm going to have to dwell here on, you know, if I was abused or bullied or what my mother did to me or, you know, how many men have broken my heart and yeah, not very appealing. It's not very appealing. So I understand that there is that resistance and that there is fear. And that's another part of ourselves that is protecting us from being hurt and is protecting us from taking risks. Because if we don't do that inner work, we have survived so far. So our brain is like, change is bad. Change is risky. So very often when you want to start, you know, that healing, self-discovery, personal growth journey, there will be a lot of resistance. And you will try to rationalize it. Why is it not a good idea? Maybe next year, I don't have time for that now. This is not for me. You know, and that's sometimes a part of ourselves that is trying to keep ourselves safe. Because even if our life has been a mess so far, and maybe it has been unpleasant, maybe we've suffered a lot, maybe we are not happy, but we are still alive. We've survived. And that's what matters. Instinctively, that's the main goal, survival. And anything that goes against survival or that risks slightly the possibility of survival, the brain will try to sabotage. But that's where the magic happens. That's where the magic happens. But same as we give as we give space to the parts of ourselves that need the healing, that need the reassurance, that made those beliefs, we also need to give voice and energy to the parts of ourselves that carry all that wisdom, all those inner treasures that were always there inside you. Again, you don't go to a shop and buy confidence. You don't go to a shop and buy, you know, a beautiful voice to sing or the ability to write or to paint or your intelligence, your kindness. You don't go to a shop and buy that. That was already within you. Thank you for being here, Tiffany. Thank you so much. I'm going to be wrapping up in a couple of minutes because otherwise I could go on for hours and hours and hours. So so quick, right? We've been here for an hour, Jay. Yeah, I know. At least for me, it just goes quickly. And today I told my husband, no, I'm gonna be really on time for dinner tonight because I'm gonna keep it to 45 minutes. As if. So the comfort zone can become uncomfortable. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, guys, so I hope that talk and the questions that I have thrown here were useful. If that made you know, if there was a small click, you know, one realization, one idea, something that came to awareness, For me, it was absolutely worth it. I would love to hear your insights, by the way. So I'm happy to stay for a few more minutes if anyone has any questions or anything else that you would like to share. I'm going to invite you all to follow me on Insight Timer, of course, so you can be notified of future live sessions, recorded content, new courses. Like I said, the Stepping to Your Power with Confidence and Joy course that I have here on Insight Timer will take you through that journey. And feel free to check out my profile. My website is there, veronica-moreno.com, if you want to know more about my content, my offerings. And I want to say a big thank you, a huge thank you to all of you who come to these sessions, who bravely do the inner work with me, who bravely share your experiences in the chat, inspiring other people. And all your feedback, your reviews, your donations, they're all very welcome and much appreciated, and they really make my day. Deep conversation, really resonated with this. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Nicole, for being here. Inga is saying there were clicks. Yeah, just need to hear them repeatedly. Yeah, sometimes we need, and sometimes it happens that you're like, oh, someone has told me that I need to love myself a bit more. Interesting. And you go to another group of friends or to the gym or whatever. Oh, someone else is talking about self-love, and we need to hear it a few times until we get the the hint. Thank you, Paulina, for being here. Thank you all, guys. It's been a pleasure to be with you here today. Do I have any sessions planned for next week? I think I do have them in my calendar, but I don't think I actually plan them here on Insight Timer. So make sure to give me a follow so you're notified when I schedule the next live sessions and I upload new content. And like I said before, if you are going through any specific challenges, have any questions, please send me a message. I'm always happy to help and point you to specific resources, support groups, etc., etc. So guys, thank you so much for being here. Sending much love and light to you all, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, my loves. Bye-bye.